Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick comment on that endorsement for the Senate.
Okay, yeah, what the Republican Party did, yes.
They did not endorse Santorum for the presidency. I'm not saying they should, but they selected who they wanted to endorse, who they were backing. They wanted to back Welsh, but they wouldn't back anybody because I suspect they didn't want to back Santorum. They chose, I think, Mitt Romney, so therefore they just didn't endorse at all. So they're very selective. It's a real mess, if I can say that out loud.
They're making our choices for us.
Yes.
Someone else? Yes, Bob.
Bill, the only conclusion is we don't vote from what you presented there.
Or, thank you. Thank you. I apologize, I had notes in this, but the way this came off, I wasn't able to read my notes. Thank you, Bob, very much. I wanted to put this in my presentation, I have it, but I wasn't able to see it. I vote. I bring a particular instrument with me every time I go in to vote. And you probably guess what that is. That would be one of these right here. So when I vote, I write in, because if I don't have the choices, you know, with the write in, you still have the opportunity to make a choice, don't you? And I've written in pastors. I've never written in Mickey Mouse or something I know I've been tempted to. But I could have voted for Mickey Mouse as the Republican or Democratic person after the vote. No, that's not true. Mickey Mouse isn't nearly as destructive as most of these people are. But yes, take your opportunity to vote and choose. And when you have this, now you really have a choice. Yes, yes.
There's no reason why we shouldn't be knowledgeable to vote because the voting records are there. We can have voting records, and if a person votes, you should not vote for somebody who is not pro-life, number one. But the voting records and the historical voting that they've cast, if they've been in a political scene already, they're there. So we should be able to be intelligible about what we do.
Yeah, and they're more available now than they've ever been.
That's true.
Thanks to the internet. It used to be you had to like save a particular issue from a newspaper or a magazine, but now they're available all the time. And I'm still amazed and disconcerted, frankly, when I hear even Christians get together and talk and say, well, you know, so-and-so said something really sounded pretty good. You know what? In politics, what do they say? Talk is cheap, campaign promises are free.
And the churches can distribute voting records.
Sure they can. And they still have that right to do that. Although sometimes get in trouble. Yes, for doing that. Yes.
So I just want to put this into words. Let's say for the last election that we had, my school was very like vote for the more conservative candidate rather than Obama.
Right.
You know, vote for him because Obama's going to be worse than this guy. And so you're saying it doesn't matter, they're both bad. Like, what if Obama's going to bring us even into more hardship and more sin than McCain would? Or are you saying they would bring us both into sin, so just don't vote for either? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See the pragmatic, and I want to address this a little bit. Thank you. I want to address this a little bit. The pragmatic questions go either way. So I want to get off of pragmatism and get back to the Bible. See what it says about who should be running for office and who we should support. Men of truth and hate covetousness, able men. Hate covetousness, by the way. Now, and I've heard secular people say this. Let's talk about Obamacare for just a second. Let's talk about that. I've heard secular people say, non-Christian people say this, that they believe that if McCain would have got elected, we still would have got that comprehensive national health care, only this time we wouldn't have had any opposition. I've heard secular people say that. See, we go round and round about, the Democrats want to take us to socialism at 100 miles an hour, the Republicans want to take us there at 75 miles an hour, and what's better and lesser and all this kind of stuff. Stop already. Get out of the Bible. That's the only book that's going to get you out of this mess. Yes, Jim?
The big guys in politics have recognized evangelical Christianity as a dominant voting bloc. And they've used a lot of high-power propaganda tactics Christians look at as reliable Christian right-wing sources of information. And some of the thickest, heaviest, worst propaganda that we get is through Christian organizations. I'll name a few of them. Christian Coalition, focusing on, a lot of these groups are nothing but mouthpieces for the big shots that run the Republican Party. And there has been so much deception coming into the Christian community through those organizations. So this gentleman made a wonderful point about we can see the records of these men. But I want to say you have to dig for the records of these men. If you accept what you're getting from the leaders of the Christian right, it's 99% propaganda.
We need to be extremely savvy when it comes to this kind of stuff. For example, most of us will vote for, well, let me ask you this. Put this back to you, and I'd like you to respond to what I'm about to say, whoever would like to take this. Okay. I'm a candidate. I am pro-life. I'm a candidate now, I'm running. What's your vote? I'm pro-life. Somebody in this group just asked me, what am I going to do about it? And I just said, well, we got to wait for the courts to change it. Did I get your vote? I'm asking you. Do I deserve your vote? I said I was pro-life.
But you're not actively pro-life.
But I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not going to do a single thing about it. How am I different in what I just told you from the old, personally opposed, which we've all heard about abortion, right? Personally opposed. Clinton had the best line of anybody. It was so tricky. This was so good. It should be safe, legal, and rare. Argue with that. How is my position different from that?
But your position is good enough to get you put in the good guy column on the voters' guys.
Sure. Sure. Yes, Dave.
No, I guess what you're saying is if we go into the voters' booth with the pen, we're putting, as a God-fearing Christian, we're putting our trust in the Lord. He's going to bring the correct candidates to us. We enough of Christians to do that? Is that what you're saying? Or are you trying to say that we should be a theocracy?
We are a theocracy.
I mean, how would you put it?
Dictatorship?
Yeah. A country that's based on, we're a democracy, really, aren't we?
We're supposed to be a republic. That's really what came out of the Constitutional Convention in 1980, what was it, 7 or 9, or 17, sorry, 87 or 9, whichever one that was.
I guess my question is, Israel would be what are they?
I would call them a theonomic republic. That's what I would call them. Because they did choose their leaders on a very local level. They did have that opportunity to do that. The Israeli Republic was extremely local. The power was very much at the local level. The king really pretty much had to do with foreign affairs, pretty much, and the difficult challenges that came up. But the items that they dealt with were dealt with in the gates. And the gates were where the local issues got settled, which in the final analysis, all politics are local. So, but to your other question, if we all go in with a pen and vote for God-fearing people, is God going to give us good candidates? You know what? I can ask a question. What does this country deserve right now? I hate even answering that question. I don't even want to answer it. Bob?
Probably was getting what it deserves, but let's ask two questions in here. If we follow that rule.
Which rule?
Or just simply take pens and write in, my name.
God-fearing people.
Preferably
Yes.
put my name in there.
Yes.
But if you put in a name of someone, we do remove ourselves from what's happening currently. Now, I know heads will shake, but think about this a minute. If you go back to our candidates, let's go back as far as Kennedy or Eisenhower or something like that, who would meet that criteria as a candidate from that time up until this time? Who would meet the standards that you're trying to set out there? And then second component would be, maybe we're not deep enough here. Maybe what we should be calling for is putting ourselves together, trying to put a Christian party together. I don't know we're gonna win the Republicans back. I don't know if we're gonna win the Democrats or win the Independents. Maybe it's time to start talking about seriously putting together some sort of a Christian political party. Now, that's totally foreign to what most Christians would want to do, getting involved a little too much. But we're just talking here, writing your name down, writing something down. Is that really trusting God?
Here's the thing. Joel mentioned about this endorsement that was made by the Pennsylvania GOP. If those men knew that none of the Christians were going to vote for that man, if they endorsed him, they would not have been able to endorse him, because he can't win without the Christians. So they sit there and they say, okay, well, look, we'll put our guy in because we know the Christians will vote for him because they don't have a Democrat. Until we stop doing that, that's all they're going to do. If we stop doing that, they have to give us candidate.
Yeah. See, we're right back into the pragmatic, and these things always go into the pragmatic arguments here. And there's a place for those. I'm not trying to make those arguments, but there's always a place for pragmatic argument. And to your second point, Bob, I would love to see a party that I could join, that I could stand on the platform and say, you know what, it doesn't matter who wins or who loses. And you've opened up another point which I want to address. We've all heard the term waste your vote. I go in with my pen, I'm going to waste my vote, right? Because no matter what, no, I'll tell you how to waste your vote. Vote for evil. I can't think of a better way to waste your vote than vote for an evil man. Yes, Randy.
That whole pragmatic approach to things is not right. If the people around you in the room didn't really know who you were going to vote for, and they only knew that you were going to stand on principle, they would have to take another look at you very carefully as to what you're going to do. Nobody in this country is looking at the Christians because the Christians have lost their principles. They go strictly by a pragmatic approach to things, and that's not going to get it. God doesn't have a choice with any people in the United States, especially the Christian, because he's going to say, hey, where's my Christian? Where are they voting? They're not even voting for me, God.
So
I mean, it's
the
absolute-
idea of a Christian vote is irrelevant then.
No, it's not irrelevant.
There's no longer.
It's irrelevant now because we have deteriorated to where we have deteriorated.
It depends what you mean by relevant.
Yes.
That's what it depends. Well, it's kind of a funny thing. I don't know if we Christians can get this through our heads or not. I'll get to you, Barbara. Is it a surprise to us that we keep voting for evil and we keep getting evil? Is that surprising to us?
Absolutely it is.
I think it is too. Can't figure that out.
The Christian can't figure that out.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm telling you. They don't know.
Each election cycle, our choices get worse, let's face it.
Yeah.
And we can't figure out why. Why is that?
Which candidate would meet the criteria?
I want to answer that question.
Poor Barbara's been waving her hand for so
He
long.
hasn't and I'm waiting.
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead. Barbara.
Well, I don't know, I might be naive, but I thought Chuck Baldwin was honorable, God-fearing, etc. I heard him speak, and he's not in politics, I don't see a record, but I know he's God-fearing. I think that there have been some God-fearing candidates, because they're the ones I voted for. I don't vote for anybody else. But I talk to my Christian friends, if God gives us, a good candidate and Christians don't vote for him because we think maybe he won't win, why should God give us a good candidate?
Yeah, there you go.
But I want to throw one other thing out that we're talking about Christians don't count. Talk about salt being thrown out and trampled on. I don't know if you know about this ABC TV sitcom that was initially called Good Christian Religion.
No, I heard about that, but don't know a lot
And
about
it's
it.
from the book that's called that. I guess they just take a little flack, so they changed to Good Christian Bells, but of course that's not what they meant. So they scaled it back to GCB so that it can refer to the title of the book. You go to the website and that's exactly what it says. It is so vile, it is incredible, and they have tacked on, I think this did make the news. I think Henry was talking about it, he said, you know, could you ever put good Muslim, et cetera?
Right.
Would anybody ever do that? And of course, nobody would, but that's where we are, Christians. And this, I think, is exactly biblical. If you haven't been solved, you get thrown out and trampled on. But we think, well, oh my gosh, how can they do that? Well, this is what God said would happen because He's sovereign, and we ought to get God here. I mean, you know, but I think there have been some candidates, but I hear Christians say, well, you know, won't win, so we can't vote for it.
Well, see, yeah, let's take the Christian population right now. Let's say we could put it right here. All the Christian population in North America. You know, and we had a godly candidate for president. What percentage of that Christian population would say, yeah, he's God-fearing, he hates covetousness? Don't you love the sound of that? Hates covetousness. I just want to say that again and again. Hates covetousness. Not like, well, I'm taking a position I got to cover. That's not part quite platform. No, hates it. Well, goes to war against it whenever he sees it. He's never even had a candidate like that. Anyway, but okay, back to this. What percentage of that Christian population would say, well, he can't win, so I'm not going to vote for him?
Can I address that just quickly?
An awful lot.
In Mississippi and Alabama, excuse me, there were polls taken, and they said, how important is it to you to have a candidate that is with your religious moral view? And that percentage, and this is, I believe, was registering how they voted. That was one question. The other one is, which candidate do you think will win? The candidate that they voted for went with their religious perspective rather than the one that they thought would win against Obama. So that at least showed some...
A little bit stirring in the bones, perhaps. I had up in my notes here as well. I'm sorry I couldn't see them. Did some research on incumbency. Speaking of thinking you have a choice, in 2002 congressional elections, anybody want to give a guess as to what percentage of the incumbents won?
98.
98 is the correct number. You think you have a choice? 98% of the incumbents. Yes, Mark.
Also, I think another aspect of the church being crippled and being effective is the legal gag rule that is being put on pulpits to not influence their churches to be able to influence their local elections or their state elections.
Yeah, how did that happen, huh? How did that happen that the pastor was not allowed to stand up in his pulpit and endorse a candidate? And we're okay with it?
And that's absolutely what it's designed for. I mean,
Sure.
that is out,
Yeah. Yeah.
manipulation, right?
You would hope the pastors would fight that. You would hope. And the congregations, frankly. Yes. Dale.
Are you asking how that happened?
I know how it happened. I really want to get into that. Lyndon Baines Johnson and his thing back in the 1950s. Yes, Pastor.
No, just confirm Barbara's here as far as the discernment, Sean, but I didn't have my hand up, so I'm trying to think of a question.
Okay, while you think of this, Randy, yes. Take one or two more and we'll wrap it up.
Can I come up front? I want to just address it just for a second.
Uh-oh, it's a bad precedent here.
I said this only for the younger folks.
Okay.
Karen and I were saved a long time ago. And I went from secular politics into what I thought was good Christian politics. And,
How old were you when you were saved, Randy? 51?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joel Saint and Christian Leinbach showed up on it, because I didn't even know we were going to go to church. I didn't even have the Bible in the house. God sent Joel and Christian Leinbach to the church. That's how we got involved in church. Anyway, my point is this, real short and sweet. I came out of secular politics. Karen and I got saved, we were going into Christian politics, and I said to myself, boy, now I'm on the right team. These people will know what's going on. I can't tell you how ignorant the Christians were. They had no idea what was going on. None. They didn't even understand the Bible. I want to tell you the last little bit of the story. I had an argument in a parking lot of a church in Fleetwood with a representative that we were arguing. I said to him, and I'm a brand new Christian, I don't even know the Bible. I just got the Bible a week ago. I'm arguing with this so-called Christian politician, state rep, that you can't take that position on that bill. And it got so heated in the parking lot, as you can probably tell 20 years ago what I was, that he called me mean-spirited. And for 20-some years, I'm very careful how I address people and what I do. He called me mean-spirited because he had no biblical position that he could take on that issue. And I told him, you can't vote for that bill. And he called me mean-spirited to back me up. The point I'm trying to say to you young folks is, learn your Bible, pay attention to the politics, and don't let them give you a snow job. Thanks.
That sounds pretty good.